Hey everyone, thank you for joining. Aoife, thank you for joining. This is cool. You and I met. I mean, I've like seen you on the internet and in like different Slack channels and different WhatsApp groups for years and years, but we finally like had a proper meeting a couple of weeks ago, and then I bumped into you, I think at the Klaviyo conference, and I get the honor of interviewing you today. So thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And thank you for my Orita plushie as well. I think lots of people took them for their kids and I took them for myself. So I love
I
it.
I have now a lot. If anybody would like any, I have way too many in my office flow. So
Yeah, we love them.
you got it. All right, I want to start. I want to know. I want to know about your background, not just like a perfunctory, like here's the one thing I did, but like how'd you get to where you are, please?
Not on purpose, to be honest. I feel like I never really knew what I wanted to do. Kind of fell into a degree in public relations because I didn't know what I wanted to do at all. I've just been very much a floater until that point. And then I actually was offered an internship in a beauty PR agency called the Publicity Loft in Dublin. So I took that straight away because I was like, what else am I going to do? And then ended up working with them as a PR manager for a few years, which was incredible. I got to work with brands like Wet n Wild, Image Skincare, Sleek Beauty, which I don't know if they're that big in the US, but they're huge here. And there's actually a lot of crossover brands that we work with now in Octane. So it's really cool. And then the beauty PR was really fun, but I had really wanted to move to the States. So I moved to LA. There's a thing that you can get in Ireland. I don't know if you can get it anymore called the graduate visa. So I had a year after I'd left college to go to anywhere in the States that I wanted to and do an internship. So I went to LA because loved beauty influencers as well. Had these this was when I first started getting goals, when I wanted to work with some really big beauty influencers. Went to LA with not a lot of money, didn't know anyone, found a job and an apartment on Craigslist, which I feel like isn't the safest, but I did it. And it actually worked out really well. My first job was totally random. It was kind of marketing, kind of organizing conferences in the school safety space. But then I ended up going to a tech company that did affiliate links for influencers, so specifically YouTube influencers. And I started as a talent scout, got to meet a lot of influencers. And then I eventually moved up to be a brand campaign manager, but more on the influencer side. So I was managing influencer campaigns for Boohoo, Dick's Sporting Goods, HP, loads of different huge brands. But I was like the influencer girl. So I had to make sure that all their videos were ready. They had all their affiliate links. It was insane the amount of time people forgot to put the links in the videos, and that's how they were making money. And just making sure that the influencers were happy, looked after. And a lot of the time they were doing campaigns for a commission, not a fee. So making sure that I could sell them on that as well. So yeah, I ended up working for them for a few years. My visa ended and I came home, but I continued to work for them. And then I traveled for a year with a company called Remote Year, which is where you travel with 40 other remote workers. We did 4 months in Europe, Asia, and South America. And then I ended up doing a bit of freelancing influencer work as well. And then I didn't really plan to fall into specifically e-commerce tech, but I was looking for a new job, definitely wanted remote. And this was before COVID as well. I'm not an in the office type of person. It's
I thought you
draining.
were going to say the LA weather was oppressive, and so you wanted to stay back in Ireland.
No, I loved it at the time. Coming back to Ireland, I was like, I need to get out of here. I was like, the weather is miserable. So I was like, oh, a year around the world would be fantastic, of course. So remote year was great for that. But then coming home, I was like, okay, I need like a proper job and not to just float around the world for a while now. And I came across a job posting at Octane for an account manager. And they just seemed like a really nice company from the listing. A lot of the perks seemed really nice as well. Very different to what we'd have here in Ireland. So applied for a job there. I actually got rejected initially. And I was really upset. Like I don't really get, well, back then I wasn't really attached to like jobs or anything. I was just kind of young and having fun. And I was really upset about getting rejected. But then a few days later, they emailed me to do an interview with Matt, who's our CEO. And then I actually got the job. So I was delighted then. But yeah, that was 5.5 years ago now. So I'm still with them doing a different job. But yeah, it's kind of all over the place. But still love beauty, still love working with our beauty and skincare brands as well.
That's awesome. Thank you. Remote years always sounded fascinating to me. I will ask you follow-ups after the call. I think I'm past that phase right now. I think my kids would be very confused where dad went, but uh that's super cool. All right. I have some questions about, I mean, the PR side is so fascinating. I'm curious, like, what are the things that you're bringing from that experience into your role in partnerships at Octane? And like, maybe a precursor to that is like, what does it mean to be in partnerships? Like, what are you focused on? What are you gold on? Like, how are you serving your brands?
Yeah. Yeah. Partnerships is such a wild, wild west job, I think, especially coming from account management into partnerships. There's so much that goes into it. And I do agency and tech partnerships. But on the flip side, there's like travel, events, all these other things that you do that you wouldn't assume come with the role. From the PR days, the overlap with events is crazy. Like we would have had to organize a lot of brand events for any of the brands that we manage. And just even I work with Megan at Smarter Shifts a little bit. Just the amount of work that goes into those events, but the return off it is really good. So that is a big overlap. With partnerships, really, I just see my role as being as helpful to our agency partners as we can be and making our product as good as it can be and as easy for them to use. And then on the flip side, our customers get access to these incredible e-com experts who, like, I know a lot about quizzes, but they know a lot about every part of e-commerce, whether it's email, web development, anything new with Shopify. They're just such geniuses, really, and lovely people to work with. So my job is really to make sure that that's ticking over well, they're happy. And then on the flip side, our customers are getting the integrations that they want, which is a lot.
Love it. I feel like you and I are two peas in a pod on the like tapping into networks. I'll take a bunch of calls where I'm like, I don't want to talk about Orita. Could we talk about like every other tech problem you have? And let me see if I can introduce you to somebody who are like, what is actually the problem that you're facing and what are the different ways to solve it? So
Yeah,
I'm very much
100%.
aligned there. All right. I've spent enough time with your founders to get a sense of like Octane and the pivots over the years. Talk to me about Octane AI right now. Like what's happening with the product, what's changed and like what's coming. And then we'll get past the infomercial type of stuff, but I'm giving you permission to share a little bit about the latest and greatest from you guys. And then I kind of want to jump into like what else you're seeing in the ecosystem too.
Yeah. Yeah. Octane is definitely, even I think day to day, it's changing rapidly. We've always been an AI company, but right now we're fixing everything in our product to make sure that the AI is as accurate and as best performing as possible. Quizzes have always been a pretty high lift for a brand or an agency to take on because it's going to go on your website. Your customer is going to go through a lot of stages with it. So brands always want it to be gorgeous, seamless with the website and really giving the best results possible. So they've always been quite static in the past and manual to build out, but now you can basically give it Octane a prompt and it will build out a quiz. So it takes like 2 minutes. When you sign up to Octane, you get 3 quizzes suggested for you as well. So it's really as simple as possible to use. Right now, we are very much heads down on, and this is the whole team, like every part of the team, including myself, go into the product, build out quizzes and go back and forth with our engineers. Like, we don't like this, we do like this. So like a shade finder in the past, that could have taken us like in the very beginning when we launched quizzes, that could have taken us 6 months to build. Like it was a nightmare. Now you can put it into AI and it'll build it for you. So we're just fine tuning that at the moment, which is going to be huge because I think most makeup and skincare brands need a quiz for their customers because it's such a hard product to buy online. So that's going to be a huge game changer when that's ready, which should be like a few days, I hope.
Most of the companies I shop from, I'm like, I just want a size large and for it to be like slightly a slim cut and I'm good. I
Yeah.
don't really care what it looks like. I want the material good. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I know the brands you guys work with, brands kind of sleep on is like, if you use AI to like speed up creative, but you don't actually understand what the customer is feeling or what they're most interested in, like more creative isn't useful without the insight about the customer themselves. I'm
Yeah.
curious if like that resonates with you or if there's anywhere else you want to take that.
Yeah, 100%. the quizzes are obviously a great tool for I always there's so many different sides you can focus on with the quiz. They're a great tool for helping customers find the products that they need, but we've been harping on about zero party data for years and how brands should be using it. Quizzes are obviously a great tool for that because it's going to be very accurate because the customer is telling you about themselves. So I always encourage brands, I don't really have to encourage agencies because they know this already, but use the quiz for a product finder or a customer guidance tool, but also find out stuff about your customers with the quiz as well and then use it. There's so few brands who are actually doing a good job using their zero party data. And I understand completely that like they're swamped. They have too much going on. They don't have the time to do it. But I think there's like tools that basically AI will allow you to do it now. So that's, yeah, it's a,
I mean, it's leverage, right? Like I remember, I started a brand in 2010 and we used to write a handwritten note to every single customer. And I would put my cell phone in the number. At first it was like a Google Voice and I just started putting my cell phone in. And the idea was to create the opportunity for like collisions with customers where they could like give feedback. And,
yeah,
I really didn't want people to have a like rate against a 3 out of 5. I was like, I want it to be a 5. Oh my God, best experience ever, or a 1. So they will like feel motivated to like complain so we can learn on some
yeah,
level. And I think like when you're a small brand, you know your customer intimately well. When you're a scaling brand, you can't possibly. And then when you're a scaling brand and you're a beauty brand and you have new products and new categories and new shades, new scents, new whatever, it's impossible not to just kind of do like vague segments. And so I don't know. One of the things I like really appreciate about the speed on the quiz side is like you can actually go get like not necessarily one-to-one deep personalization, but you can get much tighter micro segments, which
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
is useful for any brand.
Yeah.
When you're sorry to put you on the spot and you can say no, but like when you're thinking about like other technologies or other problems, like anything about what's happening with AI and direct to consumer brands right now, like has there been a moment where you're like, my God, this is a game changer, or things are happening at a pace, or like we're able to deliver more value, or any like moments that kind of stood out, or any tools that you're seeing that kind of stand out that are making you like kind of question maybe what you'd assumed was happening in the ecosystem?
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot to be honest. Like we work with so many apps and the two that I always go back to because we have such good relationships with them are Gorgias and Skio. And it's what they're doing at the moment is just incredible. Like Gorgias, and I'm probably gonna get the name wrong of what they call their tool. It's something like shopping assistant or something like that, but it can basically look at all of your Shopify data on a customer. We're also going to build an integration with them so that you can see all of the zero party data as well and just automate like every question a customer has, make it personal to them. I think that's really cool and that's really important as well. And then Skio do really cool things that I would never think of because I'm not in the subscription space, but like adding on loyalty and stuff as if a customer has been a subscriber for a long time and might not really be AI focused. I'm sure they do more, but I just think they're two tools that really are growing fast with their customers and really investing in making sure that their product is top of the game.
Is there anything unique about where you guys integrate with them, or is it more just like you see brands using them and it's like, is there a better together story for lack of a phrase, or is it
Well, so
just like
we don't integrate with Gorgeous yet. We're in the it's mid build. So
cool?
next
Yeah.
2 weeks. I hope I don't get into trouble for announcing that. But with Skio, so we basically integrate with all Shopify selling plans. So if you're a Shopify subscription app, we integrate with you. And the way that works is just in your quiz results, you can either do a one-time purchase or a subscribe and save. And we just have a lot of shared customers with Skio, but they're a fantastic team to work with. I think in partnerships, especially in the subscription space, there's a lot of competition. So we might have an intro to a few different tech partners, but they always go above and beyond and look
Yeah.
after whoever we send to them. So
It's
that's why
always
we're
hard
good.
in the partnership space. We obviously, like both of our companies, work with a ton of different agencies. And I think about agencies the same way I think about 3PLs because, I used to like at Passport Shipping or Loop Returns, it was always like, cool, what's the best 3PL that I could introduce you to? And my
Hmm.
answer is always like, your mileage may vary. And like, there are 3 great tech products for almost every problem. And there are 3 great agencies and 3 great 3PLs. So like, the ones that you like working with, but it's also very nice to be like, hey, brand, like, here's some really good options. Like, you guys got to figure out what's best for you, which is
Yeah.
like kind of nice.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, it's interesting. Like we, right now with you guys, and you and I have been talking about this, but we don't have anything formal. I keep thinking, again, uh, maybe I'll just share kind of my take. I used to do partnerships with everybody, like everybody, because I was like, I like the people. It's fun. This is an ecosystem, right? And I think I wisened up a couple years ago, which was like my framework for do I partner with a company is does our existence make that company's customers happier, right? I'm like, is it truly like a 1+1 = 3? And one of the things that strikes me about you guys, and I feel like an idiot because Ben and Matt actually invested in Orita, and like I've known Octane by reputation forever, right? When I was still running my brand, Octane wasn't a product, so I never used it as a brand owner. But is you guys are exceptional at helping the brand on the zero party data side, right? Like really understand their customers, and when you give a brand that and they work with a great agency or they're able to create the right content, the next question is obviously timing, right? It's like if I sent Aoife the perfect email, but at a time when she's not interested, she's not going to engage, even if it's like the right type of asset with the right content, with the right discount code. And so if Orita does our job right, we're like, no, don't send to her today. Wait a day, a week, a month, a quarter, whatever, whenever she's most engaged with email. And I'm excited to, right now informally, but actually like do some more integration work with you guys where literally a brand gets like the best content and the best timing. And I truly think that is like, whether it's our two companies or anybody else, like those are the problems to be solved. And I think people are kind of sleeping on the combination.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm very like a lot of the time with the companies that we might not directly integrate with, we have the best partnerships with, especially because we do have a good few shared customers. So I'm really excited to test how like that zero party data plays with Orita as well. Because that's so important as well. If someone's going to email me on a day where I'm not having emails today, I'm not looking at anything, it's not going to work for me. So I'm very excited to see how the two perform together.
I'll get there.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is exciting. Right, I want to go a little bit deeper into partnership stuff, if I may, because you've been doing this for so long and you guys are so good at it. Can you talk a little bit more about how you work with agencies and like how you build relationships and like there are, in the same way with 3PLs, there are hundreds and hundreds, and like how do you go figure out like which agencies to work with, or is it more like hey, like a big tent, like anybody who's interested comes in? Walk us through kind of on a high level how that
Yeah,
works.
I actually inherited the Octane partner program. Luckily, I didn't have to build it from scratch because I was an account manager. So I started by just giving agencies or like helping out with demos basically for agencies because I had the client facing experience. And I just got on so well with it was mostly UK agencies to start with. I just got on so well with them. It's like the same struggles when you're client facing. So Octane is very much a company. If you're interested in anything, they're like, yeah, go try it. If you want to be an engineer, maybe go learn. So I ended up inheriting a huge partner program. Like I think there was over 2,000 agencies in the partner program. Obviously,
I didn't even know there were 2008. That's amazing. Okay.
we work with all like web dev agencies, obviously email marketing
Yeah.
agencies as well, CRO. Like there's really, even our top agency partners are such a mix and they all look at Octane really differently to how I look at it as well. So it's really cool. Yeah, I inherited this huge agency partner program that we weren't doing a lot with. And like we still don't do it perfectly, I'm not going to lie, but we have our top agency partners who just consistently send us business. And it's not because I'm asking them for leads or I'm bringing them to events or anything. It's because Octane makes a difference to either if they're an email agency, the data enrichment that's being passed over to Klaviyo. Blend Commerce is one of our CRO agency partners and they use us in all of their pitches. And then web dev agencies as well. Like Octane is a great tool to build out a retainer as well. So it really varies. I like to really do an interview with all of our top agency partners just to learn as much as I can about how they bill, what their services look like, what their internal team looks like. And then if there's somewhere that I can jump in and be helpful when it comes to Octane, whether it's copying a quiz results email template into a Klaviyo account or anything, setting up a quiz, that's really how I look at our partnerships role.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, keeps coming back to like, uh, you can have a lot of data, right? And every brand has an insane amount of data with their brand, like on their customers. But the question is like, what do you do with it? And it's the same thing with you guys where you're helping a brand understand people better, but then like the agency, depending on the capacity, excuse me, of the brand, if they can't
Yeah.
do it in-house, like getting the right agency does the trick. I love the perspective about kind of the different types of agencies as well. We spend most of our time working with retention agencies.
Hmm.
We're starting to do more work with dev agencies. The CRO side is fascinating. Like I don't know, there's just so much nuance in the space.
Yeah.
Do you find that agencies or brands themselves will use your data like to inform channel decisions in ways that you didn't expect or performance marketing decisions in ways you didn't expect? Or is it kind of like people get the data and then it's the same use cases for kind of brand over brand?
And no, to be honest, it's a lot of it is the same use cases, and a lot of it goes into the retention and the email marketing or the SMS marketing side of things. But we have had cases where customers will assume something about their shoppers, whether it's an age or a preference, anything like that. And then when they launch a quiz, they're like, "Oh, that was totally wrong." I can't remember which brand it was, but they were like, most of our customers are over 50 and we thought they were all much, much younger. So it's even simple things like that, which would change a lot about your website or the type of ads that you run. Like my mother is such an online shopper. She loves beauty and makeup as well. And Laura Geller is not a very well-known brand in Ireland. And somehow she found it and she is like their number one customer now, but they're a customer of ours. So I got to meet them at K-Boss and he was like, "Oh yeah, we run ads in Ireland." I was like, "That's so random, but it works." So yeah, it's just random what you can learn about your customers, but helpful.
Did you get your mom a discount code?
I didn't. She doesn't
Come
need it. She
on.
has enough. She buys from like all of our customers.
You
It's
actually
great.
like want her not to spend more. You're like, you give her a code that doubles her price. So she like spends a little less on it. I
That might
like
teach
it.
her.
Yeah, Laura Geller's an awesome brand. That's funny. I met them in person too. That was really
Yeah.
nice.
Yes,
I do think
absolutely.
there's something special on that on the conference ecosystem. I had a call this morning with somebody from Klaviyo, like a VP there, and she looked at me and she's like, "This must be really fun for you." And I know what she meant was that I'm old and I've been around the block. Like I've been in this ecosystem for so long, and I wasn't offended because she was right. It was like so wonderful to meet so many people in person who I'd never met in person, and so wonderful just to see like old friends, old contacts, just like people who I've spent time with over the years at different phases of my career and their career,
Yeah.
actually being in this conference circuit.
Yeah. It's really cool. It nearly feels like, especially when I go to the States, I nearly feel like I'm going on some sort of reunion because it's not that often. It's once or twice a year. But then you also run into people from years ago. I ran into some of my old colleagues at an event in Dublin and it was just so nice. It's a nice environment to run into people.
It's pretty nice. Right before this, I had a call with a prospect called G4, which is just this incredible brand, but it's like one of my white whales. And I was telling the woman there that I remember meeting her, and I can still picture being in my office on Market Street in San Francisco for passport shipping the first time we met. And I've like, at this point, 1,000 of those like types of
Yeah.
quote unquote relationships, which is just like, it's quite joyful. All right, help me figure out because like a lot of people who run tech companies or run tech partnerships, right, will like see this type of content. What are the mistakes that people make when they're building out a partnerships org? What are the mistakes that they make when they're thinking about like integrations, right? You kind of mentioned in passing, like, look, we don't do deep integrations with everybody, but you do some OAuth integrations, I know. Yeah, what are the mistakes I'm going to make if I'm kind of building out the partnerships org for Orita or for any company?
Yeah. I think with tech integration, something that I didn't know when I started managing partnerships was that for those bigger integrations like Klaviyo or Shopify, you're going to have to do some upkeep on them as well. So that's something to keep in mind with your roadmap and building integrations and things like that. In the beginning, we really were like, yes, yes, yes to everyone. And our goal is still to build an integration with everyone. But obviously, we don't have unlimited amount of team members and my engineers will probably kill me. So what we do now is just look at the overlap of customers. We know often we've all been at Octane for a long time. So we
Yeah,
kind of know, oh yeah, this has come up, has been requested over the years. So we prioritize what our customers want to start with and then who it makes the most sense with to integrate with, if that makes sense. So like Top Cars should be going live this week. That's been
cool.
requested for years. And you can actually use the quiz on Top Card, but I don't think the add to cart button worked. So it was limited, but people were still using it anyway. So it was definitely like, we need to get this done. And then it was it's built and it's ready to go. We just need to test a little bit more. Integrations like that make total sense. Any subscription apps, email platforms. But to be honest, I think for now, Klaviyo is like, it's where all of our customers are. So that's where we're going to make sure we keep improving that integration and making it as easy to use as possible. A lot of people do struggle with Klaviyo. So we build templates that live in Klaviyo and just try to make sure that it's as easy as possible for brands to use.
I mean, giving as much leverage as possible is pretty good. Yeah, I love the framing of finding the shared customers first, right? It's truly like if people are jumping through hoops to create a better together story, then you can decide, okay, it's worth kind of simplifying.
Yeah.
There's something else that you mentioned about upkeep. I'm wondering if you can go just like a level deeper there, if there's anything else you want to share. Like, cool, we get this partnership. And then what does good look like on an ongoing basis? Is it like you really need to do a bunch of lunch and learns, you need to do one-on-ones? Like, how do you go kind of get the most out of a partnership? And again, not like, I don't mean this in a selfish way, but to make sure that like the better together story actually happens for your shared customers.
Yeah, it's a good, and I feel like I can still always improve in partnerships and co-marketing and all of that good stuff. But for us, if we look at like our Shopify, we're a Shopify app. We're the only Shopify Plus quiz app as well. But that comes, like I mentioned, with a lot of upkeep and a lot of making sure that the engineers know every timeline that we have to have this update done by. And with that partnership, we have an amazing manager there, Megan, who's incredible. But it's kind of my job to make sure that like we do a lot of case studies around Klaviyo, around Shopify. And in the past, I wouldn't always be sending them to Klaviyo or Shopify because I'm like, they're just going to be like, they don't care. But they were like, no, we really care. We want you to send us all of that information. So I think there's simple things that you can do, like linking back to Shopify or Klaviyo or Orita, whoever you're doing the co-marketing with. I think sometimes partner managers can miss that, or just that consistent communication, making sure that your tech partners know, like, oh, we actually really do value you and we see the success. This is where we're highlighting it, whether it's a newsletter, co-marketing, webinars. I think that's really helped us like build a much stronger relationship with Klaviyo and Shopify specifically. And then the other ones that work really well, like Gorgias had like a whole go-to-market plan when they wanted to build an integration with us, which was really cool because usually you can sometimes feel like you're really putting in a lot of the legwork and then you're like, is this reciprocated? So when a partner comes to us and they're like, we really want to build an integration with you, we want to do X, Y, and Z, that's an instant yes for me because you're going to make my life as easy as possible.
I like it. That's really helpful. Thank you. I think there's one piece that, you kind of mentioned, like we need to, like you can level up. Like I think about this. This is not my first rodeo, right? Like at Passport, I was about building partnerships with 3PLs. At Loop, it was a little bit everybody, but then really deep. With Shopify here, it's all about agencies, right? Like we are really, really good at one thing, which is kind of like a ranking algorithm to tell you like email eefa or don't. We're not your agency. We're not your creative. We're not your strategy. We're like, do that at the right time, it works. And so it's all about agencies. I think the thing that I always kind of undervalue is just how much work, not undervalue, like I underinvest in, is how much work it takes to make sure that the account manager understands. Like Ben, right, from Octane, like trusting Orita is one thing. And then you trusting Orita is another, right? And then it's like, well, we actually need to go meet with the people on your team who are talking to customers and not be like, refer Orita, right? That's not the point,
Yeah.
but it's like her brain's with this like discrete problem, we can help solve it. And I think the like amount of effort it takes, because it's nobody's priority,
Yeah.
right? On your guys' side, you need to figure out how do we like wow customers with Octane. And so like I think it's just very hard in the partnerships world to get super narrow on use cases and really explicit about the jobs to be done. But
Yeah. I
you guys do
I
it
have with our
well.
agency partners, I've found that the best partnerships are when I know most of the team and not just the partner manager, which is so true what you mentioned. Because like Domain, for example, I absolutely love our partner manager there, Jerry. But now I've got to meet the sales director, Claire, and I also got to meet Stacey at KBoss. And there's just so much, like there's so many people on that team. They're not all going to know what Octane AI is, or they might know what it is, but they're not going to know how that fits into anything to do with their customers. And it's all different departments. So
What's it
yeah,
mean
it's
for
great
me?
when you can get as much face time with the team as possible. Because sometimes I might be a blocker. I try not to be, but like me introducing you to our director of account management, I was like, she's going to know way more what to do with our enterprise customers than I'm going to know. So,
Yeah, I love it. Thank you for that intro, by the way. It was a
oh,
lovely
no worries.
conversation. All right, I've used a lot of your time, but I do want to put you on the hot seat for some
Great.
like really sage advice, and you can give more than one piece of advice. But I'm curious, like we're kind of running up to BFCM, and then like after that, it becomes 2026, and we get to do the whole thing again. Like if you could give any one piece or couple pieces of advice to different marketers or brands, whether it's Octane related or just you've been in this ecosystem a while,
Yeah.
what advice would you like to give to folks?
God. So I think the only place that I really have a right to give advice is when it comes to quizzes, to be honest. I think just making it like I'm sure this is the same for every quiz platform. You have all of that analytics where customers are dropping off, where they're engaging. Just make sure that your quiz is as optimized as possible and it's really making your customers' shopping experience super easy. I feel like I'm a very big online shopper. I do a lot of online shopping. I do a lot of shopping around Black Friday. And I feel like there's nearly a frenzy around that time where you're worried things are going to go out of stock. Then you're worried about the delivery times of everything like that. Just let your customers know there's going to be delayed deliveries if that's what it's going to be. Save yourself all that customer support time after they purchase. But just use the quiz to make it as easy as possible. Please make sure that your discount code is updated in the quiz as well or in the email and just have all of that like ready to go. I'm trying to think. There's a brand that we work with, Sculpted by Amy. They're an Irish brand, but I think they're going quite viral on TikTok at the moment. And they are just incredible. They do unbelievable Black Friday sales for returning customers, which I think is really cool as well and obviously builds retention. But their delivery time, I don't know how they're getting people their products so quickly. Even after Black Friday, I get my products within 3 days. If I don't like something, they don't make me return it. They just send me out. Or if something's faulty, they'll just send me out a new replacement product and they respond really quickly. So everything with their brand is just so seamless. Obviously, they're an Octane customer as well. But just the whole experience is so seamless with them. They have a app as well. So I think just really making sure that everything is easy for your customers. That's all we want.
I love it. I mean, for what it's worth, it is funny. You're like, look, when something went wrong, they really took care of me. And that sometimes is the best moment.
Yeah.
I do remember back, there was this woman who I won't name, just out of like, who was amazing out of Wabash, Indiana. And we completely butchered her first order. I think like we sent her the wrong watches and the watch was broke and who knows, everything that could have been wrong went. And she emailed in and we like refunded her immediately and sent her a bunch of stuff overnight, next day, whatever it was. And then she
Yeah.
literally became our biggest fan and she was incredible and generous and like would introduce us to people and like,
Yeah.
brought us everywhere. And I think your advice is very, very sound, which is like create that delightful customer experience. Don't let them have anxiety, right? Like get ahead of it, right? If
Yeah.
something's getting late, proactively tell them. Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Aoife, this is awesome. I appreciate you letting me steal a bunch of your time and a lot of
Great.
insights. I'm very, very excited to keep building our partnership together. I
Thank
obviously
you.
believe deeply in what you guys are building and how you serve brands. So yeah, I'll let you go, but thank you so much for your time.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers.
Okay. Bye.